welcome Nick Vlad. Nick Vlad will present the information he has gathered in 3 years while looking into relocation in South America. There are safe cities that offer a modern lifestyle, low crime rates, and a moderate cost of living. There is a country that uses the US dollar, and the highest income requirement is $2,000, with many countries requiring much less. He will also recount his and his partner's experience relocating to Cuenca, Ecuador, the home, what is it? Cuenca, thank you, Cuenca, Ecuador. This is why I have volunteers. Home of 10,000 plus expats. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Nick. My partner Jim and I have been attending UUCB for 11 months. 3 years ago, as Beth mentioned, I was frustrated by not finding an affordable place to live. One day, I came across a video on YouTube made by an American couple. They had $1 million in medical debt and moved to Ecuador to be able to pay off their debt. I had always been intrigued by living in another country, so I researched various countries. One thing that kept me back was moving by myself. Luckily, when we met, I found out that Jim shares my interest in international living. Today, I will talk about our research into relocation to South America. Please note that this presentation has more information than I'll cover today. There's a PDF version of it if you're interested. Next slide, please. Why would anyone consider leaving the US? Maybe you don't have enough to rent a 3-bedroom house. Next. Perhaps you're alarmed by the mass shootings, the militarization of everyday life, or Project 2025. Next. Maybe you can't afford good medical or dental care. Next. The countries that Americans associate with international living are no longer welcoming, with expensive income requirements, or they now tax your foreign pension. However, most South American countries offer pensioner or digital nomad visas that you can renew indefinitely and require an income of $2,000 a month or less. They provide easy paths to permanent residency and citizenship. Next. These Catholic countries have abandoned tradition. There is a true left in most of these countries. Some countries, like Colombia, have true social democrats in power. Many have queer rights, so it's no longer the continent portrayed in American media. Next. We were only interested in major cities because these have the best infrastructure, similar to the US, and they have the best medical facilities. Next. We were interested only in cities with large expat communities because Jim only speaks English. I didn't want Jim to feel socially isolated. Even though I speak Spanish and am familiar with South American culture, most of what I like, music, TV, movies, and current events, are American. Next. Before I proceed, I need to point out that in these countries, if you meet the minimum requirements for a visa, you will be seen by the locals as a rich person. So use discretion when discussing your finances. As much as you may feel for the locals, you cannot change the political and economic policies that led to their poverty. If you do want to help, you can volunteer at the many charities that exist, or you can start your own. Next. Here's a map of the countries that we considered. Next. We included all the countries in South America, except for the overseas dependencies of French Guiana and the Falklands. We added in 2 popular Central American countries, Costa Rica and Panama. Next. These countries are huge. The chart compares the size of each country to US states. Even though Uruguay is the smallest South American country, it's bigger than Florida. Many expats talk about Ecuador as though it were a small country. It's almost the size of Italy, yet no one talks about Italy as a small country. Next. In the following slides, I will take you through our process of elimination by indicating which countries pass or fail on different criteria. Next. The countries in red don't have consistent infrastructure. Next. While most of these countries are safe because of the wealth gap, you can expect petty crime in all these countries. Therefore, act as if you were in New York City. If you hate New York City, South America may not be for you. Meeting the income requirements for visas guarantees that you won't need to live in a poor neighborhood, and this should shield you from the worst crime. Next. Safety is a concern in a few countries. In some countries like Colombia, crime is regional. In other countries like Ecuador, the locals perceive crime as much worse than it really is. Next. We excluded one city countries. My parents retired to an island, and within 2 years, they had seen everything and were bored. Next. We also excluded countries with poor health care outside of major cities, which is an issue in case of an emergency while traveling. Next. Two of the countries, Ecuador and Panama, use the US dollar as the official currency, which makes it easier to track your expenses. Next. Some countries don't have clear income requirements. Some tax foreign pensions. Others have few expats, and some are inadvisable for political reasons. Next. The cost of living for a family of four in Brevard County is $5,700 a month. We list the income requirements for each country as best we could. Next. All of these countries pay much less than the US. Therefore, you will be rich in comparison to most locals. Costa Rica has the highest minimum monthly salary and is only 57% of the US. Next. We also excluded countries that are economically unstable. Next. The countries in green are queer friendly. They have marriage equality, gay adoption, and anti-discrimination laws. In some, like Ecuador, Colombia, and Uruguay, these laws are written into the Constitution. Next. We picked Medellin, Colombia, and Cuenca, Ecuador. Next. Both cities have a low cost of living and are queer friendly. I did my pink test in both. This consists of wearing a pink t-shirt or shorts and going about my day. In the Medellin area, no one gave me a second look, whereas in Cuenca, I heard some soft comments in Spanish. However, I was not confronted. Next. The people are friendly. It's easy to start a conversation. People greet each other where they live. The store clerks are very polite and helpful. Whereas most Colombians seem to have a hustle, most Ecuadorians seem to be content with their lives. Next. Both countries have good infrastructure. It's easy to live like an American. Medellin has great Uber service and Cuenca has extensive taxi service. Transportation in both cities is cheap. Both cities have many new modern apartment buildings with 24/7 security, HGTV quality furnishings. Most rentals are furnished. Next. Both cities have good health and dental care. In the private system, most doctors and dentists trained in North America or Europe. Clinics and dentists have state-of-the-art equipment, while procedures are inexpensive compared to the US. For example, Jim's crowns cost only $400 each. Next. Both cities are safe. Medellin has the same homicide rate as Atlanta. Cuenca has the same homicide rate as Utah. Statistically, it's the safest city in South America. Most expats are seniors and no one feels unsafe. Both cities have a large expat population, so it's not necessary to speak Spanish. Next. Both cities have great weather. Medellin is subtropical with abundant rain. Cuenca has eternal spring. Both cities have daylight from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. year-round. Major earthquakes are not a problem in either city. They're both in the Andes, which means that they're on solid bedrock and you feel the earthquakes less. Next. In both Colombia and Ecuador, the immigration process starts with a temporary visa. After a number of years on a temporary visa, you can apply for permanent residency. Eventually, you can apply for citizenship. Next. In Colombia, you have to apply for a temporary visa at least twice before you can apply for permanent residency. However, in Ecuador, you only have to apply for permanent residency after one temporary visa of 21 months. The path to citizenship takes only 5 years in Ecuador, while it takes 10 years in Colombia. Next. As most of you know, we chose Cuenca, Ecuador. Next. Cuenca has over 10,000 expats. Most don't even speak basic Spanish, so you can forget Duolingo. Many are happy because it's a calm city. There's lots to do, and you can easily get help from other expats. There's lots of beautiful buildings, both old and new. Next. There are a lot of excellent restaurants with cuisine from all around the world. There are quite a few restaurants that offer 5 to 8 course menus. Tipping is optional and only 10%. Next. The transportation is cheap and plentiful. You can flag down a cab or order one from the Asu Taxi app. Next. Gas prices are fixed by the government and are comparable to Florida. You can hire a private driver for long trips. This can be cheaper than flying. Next. Traffic is not an issue because there are many roundabouts. We have never spent 30 minutes in traffic, even during rush hour, going from one end of the city to the other. Next. We have 1 gigabyte internet service for $44 a month. The two major cell companies are Claro and Movistar. We pay $22 a month for the best cell plan available. Next. WhatsApp is used all over the world because it's free and secure. It works on Wi-Fi. It does have text messaging, voice, and video calls, so you can keep in touch with everybody back home. Next. Rent is cheap. Most of our friends pay $500 to $850 a month. We have a 2-story penthouse with 3 bedrooms, 4.5 baths, a large kitchen, and lots of amenities. We pay 6.5% of the rent for a similar apartment in the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Next. Utilities are also cheap. Next. There's a wide range of stores, however, few are American. Some of our friends like the markets, but we prefer the consistency at major stores. Next. The locals don't resent expats like in other places. They see us as stimulating their economy. Next. The best neighborhoods are Gringolandia, where we live, and Puertas del Sol. They have the nicest apartment buildings and many restaurants, doctors, and dentists. Some prefer the historic center for its traditional Spanish architecture and local feel. Next. There's tons to do in Ecuador and its 3 different regions. Next. There are many expat activities and charities for volunteering. You won't be lonely unless you want to be. Next. There are also plenty of cultural events in the city. Next. There are many things that you will find strange about South America. Next. Remember, you're not in Kansas anymore, so don't expect everything to be like back home. Next. Some modern concepts like bike paths are implemented in strange ways. Something else that's strange for Americans is the police and military with assault rifles and machine guns. You see them in less safe areas frequented by expats and rich Ecuadorians. Next. Ecuadorians are more likely to go demonstrate or go on strike than Americans. There was a mega drought last year that affected electric service in the country. The government is addressing this by purchasing power from Colombia and building new power plants. The buildings that cater to expats have power generators and water tanks. Next. Let's skip this slide, please. And this one. Based. Okay, skip this one, please. Okay, based on our experience, we recommend that you hire an immigration lawyer to apply for your visas and residency. You'll need an income verification letter, an FBI background check, and a state police report. All documents need an official seal called an apostille. It doesn't matter whether you're living where you're living when you apply, because I'm sorry, it doesn't matter where you're living when you apply for the temporary visa. The immigration lawyers have employees in the U.S. that can get all documents for you. Next. Let's skip this slide, please. And you can always contact me directly if you have any questions or if you want the PDF. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. That is interesting. You were very thorough.